All right, cyber traders, welcome on back here this Thursday afternoon, April 29th, getting close to the end of the pay period, as Fausto would say. I'm going to beat him to the punch with that. But great to see all of our students live inside the cyber group room. Ron, Leda, Bonnie, Michael, great to see you all, and all of our members on social media, Facebook Live and YouTube. Welcome on back. Let's hop right into it, folks. Markets bouncing back up, at least from the afternoon. But as you can see, the OCGN trade, another big move up for OCGN once again today. A little choppier than usual, but to go over this move, and really quickly, of course, you could see all of my crazy lines on my charts here. So just pardon me for that. But nonetheless, we ended up seeing OCGN make a really sharp bounce after the market opened up today. Ended up essentially making the slingshot right from 1050, and then from there, ran right up higher. Ended up making the big breakout later on, right off of $11.25. Ended up squeezing up to make a new high from there. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to delete all these crazy lines here. It looks a little confusing. The one I don't want to delete, though, I'm actually going to put this up for right now. $12 resistance. We saw this make a huge pop over 12 earlier today. The initial pop led to a false breakout where it shook back down quite violently, ended up kind of pulling back a bit further. But going into the early afternoon, we were watching this try and re-break off the 12, and it's just been so choppy since. But I'll tell you right now, just as I always like to be transparent, I'm in this trade currently. I have my stop set, and at least if it ends up dropping off, I'll take a small haircut. But gotta say, just like from the first 3 days this week, once again today has been a really good day altogether, just with all these stocks. OCGN, we'll get to the others in just a moment here. But for right now, OCGN, we'll just start by putting this on our main watch list just to begin. All right. So what we'll do, folks, really is just quickly recap those, like I'd said, that did make a big move. Then we'll go from top to bottom. We don't really have to rush through things here today, but we'll just kind of recap everything from the morning. We'll start off with the stock actually off of earnings. Actually, not this stock in particular. I know that RCL had earnings. With that, CCL, Carnival Cruise Line, we ended up seeing them move in tandem together in pre-market. So RCL was moving up off of earnings. We ended up seeing CCL squeeze up with it, NCLH. I think there was also news on Carnival. I think possibly a price upgrade. Nonetheless, though, it was really active leading into the market open. It was a stock we had on our morning watch list. Man, what happened? It was looking so good leading into the market open. Good news came out. It was trending up into the open. But we ended up seeing the markets all together dip off at first, so this ended up going with it. But more importantly, I want to talk to you about the big breakdown of support that we had going into the late morning, the early afternoon. I did not re-enter this trade. I ended up taking a break even on CCL. I was all over the place this day today, really altogether. But on the 28 level here, $28 for the CCL stock, we ended up seeing this kind of tease the break below 28 at first. I ended up going in on my short trade right here. I went for the short right below 28. Looked good. It smelled good, but I mean, I think this is right around the time where we saw a small little squeeze back up on the market before it pulled back lower. But we ended up seeing CCL go with it, right? So you can see it squeeze back up through 28. Right place, wrong time. Now, what happened later on was that, simply put, this ended up re-breaking below support. Once it re-broke below 28, game on. That's what led to the next move down here again. Once this re-broke below the 28, ended up dropping off much better. Low of the day so far today is off 27.41. For right now, we'll keep this on our side list. It's a fun stock to trade, has great liquidity on the order book. So maybe I'll come back to it at the end if it ends up making a better move up, perhaps with the markets at this point, or if it ends up dropping off more and breaks a new low or reapproaches the low of the day here, then, I'll give it a second look. All right. But, CCL was actually a pretty good short opportunity upon the market open. You know what else was a good short opportunity upon the market open today? UXIN. You can see it actually made a nice squeeze back up after, but I'm talking right out the gate as the market opened up. Normally stocks below $5 aren't really shortable. It depends on your broker, depends on the liquidity, but nonetheless, UXIN was a stock that made a big pop yesterday. It was shortable this morning. It actually moved up higher in pre-market. So as soon as the market opened up, you saw the selling kick in, the profit taking come in. So from that point, ended up leading to a huge drop off. Now, if, of course, as you could see from there, ended up making the rebound, a really volatile squeeze back up. I ended up taking a couple of losses on this, actually, because I was expecting 3 resistance to hold here. So I was waiting for the false breakout, the pop up, and then the slam back down. It didn't slam back down. So as it moved up to the next level, I tried jumping in short right from $3.10. Bad decision. I ended up taking an 8-cent loss here on a 2,000 share size position. Not fun. Ended up making the big squeeze up. I didn't jump in long. I knew that at some point this was going to come back down. I ended up jumping in short from $3.20. Double-sized position. Ended up running it down. I left some money on the table, but nonetheless, ended up providing even better of an opportunity on the short side today than it was on the upside today. So, we've been saying this has been a fun side list stock to trade just from the last few days. Obviously, yesterday made the big pop, and today the big drop. So yeah, for right now, UXIN, I feel like it's like kind of washed up, just kind of the volume dried up a little bit there. We're not as likely to follow this heading into the close today, but keep it on your radar tomorrow, and so forth. All right. What else? We had the OCGN trade, which we talked about. How about Clove on the way down? Clover, this was a really good stock, at least from yesterday. Another big move up, and it moved up higher in pre-market. Now, after the market opened up, after the pop up, ended up dropping off quite nicely. I gotta say, my best trade of the day wasn't even on that UXIN there. It was actually on this Clove. I was short right from 1169 here, 1,000 shares, but nonetheless, ended up making a beautiful drop. I left a college tuition's worth of money on the table there. I ended up getting out right off of 1110. I mean, how can you not go wrong how can you go wrong just closing out there, right? You can't. But it's to say there is so much more room on the way down here today going into the mid to late morning as it rebroke below support off of 1075 here. So going into the afternoon now at this point for Clover, hey, it's on the way down to the major support level off of 10, right? So we love 10 as a whole number, a major support. For right now, I mean, I don't mind slipping this on our main watch list. Just, Clove side list stock, typically good spread, good liquidity. It's on the way down. It's shortable. It's at a major support. So all of the reasons why you would just want to follow any stock going into a trading session, and then here we are now. So, if we end up having a really big watch list at the end of it all, maybe I'll check back in with this and we'll kind of pick and choose. But definitely for the meantime, we'll put this on our main list. All right. So what we'll do, folks, there are a couple of others. We had a pretty interesting day as usual, but we'll go from top to bottom now. We have a question coming in from one of our members on YouTube. Actually, before we go from top to bottom, how about this? We'll jump to MVIS here. MVIS, as we like to say, Mavis, we nickname it, Microvision. We ended up seeing Microvision tail off. It was like kind of similar to the UXIN move this morning. They're not related by any means. I'm just saying, it ended up providing a drop off leading into the open. And as soon as the market opened up, just a huge shakedown. How about this? The trade that we ended up taking going into the early afternoon, myself, Ken, Mario, a couple more, I'm sure. If I didn't shout you out, I apologize. But off of 18, this was a huge move. I mean, big support off of 18, ended up breaking below it, so it could have been a good short at the time. It's hard to borrow for us here, but nonetheless, ended up breaking out here, false break, pull back, and then on the slingshot up higher, this was a beautiful move here. Broke back over 18, and it led to at least $1 move up. I know one of our members, Felix, actually, I'll give him a big shout out too. I think he picked up just about 99 cents or 98 cents, something of that nature. A beautiful run up at least. Nonetheless, again, MVIS is still very volatile, provides a good opportunity on the way up, on the way down. I think we did put this on our list yesterday kind of for that reason, right? We were saying, it dropped off going into the afternoon here. Maybe if it can make a higher low, a squeeze up, maybe continued move down. You could just see by the end of yesterday, with all the volume it was trading yesterday and the move up and down, it was like through the spin cycle. It was exhausted. So I'm looking at this trade now. It's like pretty similar. So thoughts on MVIS going into this afternoon as a day trade? Not as interested right now. I'll be very interested in this trade come tomorrow morning once we kind of reset things. But for the afternoon here, the final hour, I think I'm going to pass. All right, so we do have a pop right now. I'm actually looking at the chat board as well simultaneously. I told you, folks, I was going to go from top to bottom in just a second, but I see from Terry, he says Tilray is on the move, and then Tina saying Tilray just popped. She's averaged in at 1885 here. 1880? Oh, 1865, she said, I think. 1885, Tina? Let me know that price right now. Is that a swing trade as well? I mean, it's squeezing up nicely. I don't know what the news is right now, but the current price right now on Tilray, 1865 here. Let's see if this ends up having news. Let's see. So News from just about 5 minutes ago. Shares of cannabis stocks are trading lower, potentially amid profit taking after several stocks in the sector gained on Wednesday, following resumption of coverage from Bank of America analysts. I don't know what the hell that means because this is clearly moving up right now. So that doesn't really give us too much to work with. But hey, beautiful pop on Tilray. We love the pop, but we love the volume that led to that pop first. So we'll check out ACB and check out AFRIA. All of them are kind of squeaking up here a bit. I like Tilray the most. You know what? I'll even put Tilray on the side to begin, not really on the main list just yet. We'll go from top to bottom, build the list from there. We'll jump back to Tilray. I do like it. I don't know if it's like a fake pop or if it's like unusual options activity and then they kind of just fizzle back down, or we'll come back to it later on. We love Tilray, so it looks pretty good. All right, so we'll see what we have though, at least from this point forward, folks. We'll go from top of the gainers list down. We got the WVVI stock here, top percent gainer. It's pretty interesting when the top percent gainer is only up 33%. Really. I mean, the markets are up and they're pushing up right now, but outside of that, you typically see stocks that are, still up even more than this, 50%, 90%, 100+%. So yeah, and just kind of just speaking out of curiosity there, but nonetheless here breaking down, it's not really in any sort of buying opportunity for right now here, this trade. Meanwhile, this Pixie stock this seems to be making a really nice push, kind of spiked up off this support here off of 283, 280-ish. And for right now, making a hell of a move. I mean, so much of a move here. I would expect a pullback. It's on such a steady trend. And it's hard to argue that, or it's hard to say that. But the stock's already moved up just about 50 cents, right? 45 cents from this point. So at what point does this begin to pull back, go the other way? And not to say go the other way, but perhaps pull back and make a higher low, make another like support. Oh, right as I say that. Yeah, for the meantime, though, here, Pixie, I don't mind slipping this on our list. I mean, level 1 to 2 stock, it seems like good spreads, good liquidity. I like the move up here so far. Hopefully there's a lot more left to it. All right, you know what? Actually, really quickly, I just lost track of something fast. All right. Just looking back at my OCGN trade. I got to keep focused on that trade. All right, so we'll keep going here, folks. OCUL here first, I guess. Yeah, OCUL. I saw this called out earlier, if I'm not mistaken, perhaps from Leda. I could be wrong on that, but nonetheless, popped kind of a choppy move up here, though. It's like making that same type of move as OCGN here is just choppy, looks steady on the way up, but choppy minute by minute. And again, for right now, I'm in this trade from 12. I'm going to jump back to this in a moment, do the full review on this, at least going into the close. It's already on our list. All right, but getting back to OCUL, though, it's like pretty similar in the sense of just choppy move minute by minute, but it's trending up. It just broke higher within the last 3 to 5 minutes. So, I'll put this on our watch list, kind of near the middle, probably near the middle to bottom by the end of it all. See if there's anything that has a better spread, better order book. Capper, kind of a familiar name, popped up earlier, pulled back. I'll pass on this. ENLV, another familiar name, kind of spotty chart here, and also like spotty, empty order book. All right, now we'll keep it going here. METX, we'll skim through. This was a nice trade from earlier this morning. Showed a lot of activity in pre-market, and thankfully after the open, it led to a nice, easy squeeze up. Ended up making a beautiful push, or at least the pop higher after it broke above resistance off of 190, led to just about a 50-cent move from there. And then from there pulled back. So yeah, it just goes to show, folks. I mean, hey, for all of us inside the trading room, you folks know better than most. For any of our trial members joining us from today's event, from last week's event, still getting familiar with us, and of course for all of us on social media, Facebook Live, YouTube, joining the stream here, keep this in mind. Anytime you see a stock on our watch list, unless if Fausto himself says it, these are day trade recommendations. We're not swing trading these stocks. We're not buying them here at the open, then holding on all throughout the day and then closing at the close. That's not a day trade. It can be, but a day trade is just, following the stock and getting what you can take out of it. So it goes to show that once the fuel in the gas tank kind of runs out here, this doesn't just coast off. goes the complete other way. So if you don't get out ahead of time, that could lead to a nasty drop off. Even for something like this, it moved up nicely, but it has really tight spreads, really good liquidity on the book. Goes to show even a stock like that can make a really big move up or down, big shake. All right, what else we got here? Hall of Fame, kind of a dud from earlier today, but look at this squeeze now. Jeez, that wasn't really meant to be. I did not know that was coming. This squeeze up on Hall of Fame. I was just going to point to it, saying, "Oh, Hall of Fame's a familiar name. We've traded the stock over the last month and a half on this squeeze up here, NFT type of play. Squeezed up earlier. I know that one of us was calling out Dolphin Entertainment (DLPN), and those stocks have moved similarly in the past. I don't know what's going on with Hall of Fame here, but I like it. So check out Benzinga Pro really fast just to see if there's any news on this. All right, we got some news. Looks like Hall of Fame shares moving higher, obviously. Uh, CO to, or it says company, I guess it says, unless if they deleted the E there, CEO or just the company in general, is to appear on Fox Business coming up at 3 p.m. Eastern. So, hey, maybe they'll make an announcement. Maybe this is speculation. Who knows? But I like this trade so far, this Hall of Fame. I'd assume major resistance as it currently shows. Don't lose sight of this order here on the ask on the top right here of my TradeStation matrix. All right, cool. I like this trade now. Hall of Fame. Cool. I'll take it. I didn't mean to click on this. I meant to click on VXRT. Familiar name from the past, few days, of course, from the last year, really. Ended up making a big push this morning in pre-market. As soon as the market opened, we had our pop higher, but same thing as the METX trade, unfortunately. This failed to break out higher off 11. Actually, this didn't even make a false breakout over 11. This kissed the level perfectly and just came back down. That actually doesn't happen too frequent. Normally, when you see this nasty shake on the way down here, it's off a false pop, a breakout. And it seems like it made a false pop, but it didn't even break above the resistance. It just kissed it, right? So there wasn't even a true false pop over that resistance. It just kissed it perfectly and then made the snap lower. And damn, that thing dropped off fast after. So it made a 2-point drop all the way down to 9. And at least from there, you're able to get a few cents off that 9 bounce. But again, for right now, same with this, as I had said before on the Clove stock or the Clove stock there. And I'd assume that stock right now is just going to be pretty exhausted. Facebook obviously still a big off of its earnings. Unfortunately, Facebook did not buy Bitcoin. I was talking about that going into the afternoon meeting yesterday. That was the rumor going around. I told you folks, don't hold me to that. I was obviously more hopeful than anything that would be true. It was not, and it ended up leading to a funky pop on Bitcoin, but then a slam down right away after. We'll show the Bitcoin chart in just a moment. Not a whole lot really to talk about, but we'll bring it up really just to keep track. ADVM here, just hopping over to the losers list. We got to go to OCGN in just a second too. The trade I'm in. This is off of 4. It was down big in pre-market leading into the open. It was trending down after the market opened. It certainly didn't move up. So, it actually ended up being a decent short position after the open. And at this point now, it's like at the lows. It's interesting, but it's trading just so much volume compared to what it normally trades on a day-to-day basis. And it's just so flat. It's not worth our time. I mean, the more we watch this, the more we miss this, right? We got to finish this meeting up fast. That's a double position for me. I got to make sure I close this out with a respectable profit. I don't want to be a jerk and blow that. So for right now, Kara just finishing up the loser side at least. And of course, we'll hop back to Facebook Live, YouTube. We'll hop back to the trading room, see if there's any stocks that I didn't have a chance to look at just yet. But Kara dropped off after the open. This could have been a good trade, I guess. But, for right now, not a real whole lot to write home about on this one. Tradable, but I just think there's a lot better. All right, BTX, another clear example. And I said this back 2 days ago. I know, obviously, if you ended up swing trading this 2 days ago, you would have been a big winner. If you tried swing trading this yesterday, obviously, you can't say the same. So, for this type of stock, you knew that this was going to come back down hard. It was up like 150% the last 2 days. So what goes up comes right back down, unfortunately, for this one. XXII, you could say the same thing. Great sideless stock. Again, the stock, so long as it's shortable, provides just as good of an opportunity on the way up as it can on the way down here, and that's what happened today. definitely keep this on your radar as like more of a level 1 to 3 stock. I mean, even more level 1 to 2. This is a really good stock to keep in mind, that XXII. Same with Galt. Galt's hard to borrow. You can't short this, unfortunately. Maybe you could request shares. I don't know if you can get the shares approved from your broker. Would have been a pretty sweet short in hindsight today, right? Popped up, made a false pop over 560 here, and then a big drop right away after. Would have been a beautiful opportunity. Let's talk about Lyft very quickly, which Michael segued perfectly to as we're continuing to go down the losers list. Michael said Lyft, big drop also. So outside of all that we had talked about so far, I mean, really the news out today that I know a lot of us are focused on, news with Lyft, news with really like the Department of Labor, right? Talking about DoorDash, Uber, Lyft shares moving lower on the U.S. Labor Secretary comments saying most U.S. gig workers should be classified as employees rather than independent contractors. So, I'm not too familiar with the situation, so I'm not going to try and talk out my ass, but it's to say clearly the street was not happy with this. Ended up leading to a ginormous drop. And with that, I would not be expecting a squeeze back up that much after. So no surprise to see this right back down now. It broke back below 56. We'll see if it will move lower here. I mean, hey, it's more expensive, but the spreads are good. The liquidity is great. I like this trade still, this Lyft. Traded on smaller share count. This is the type of stock that, hey, if you want to not play around with, but try and, challenge yourself on a more volatile trade, this would be it. The spreads are pretty, tight, liquid order book at least, definitely, lower the share size, maybe do the Fausto 1 share, right? But this would be the type of stock you could certainly try and challenge yourself on. I would be more interested in playing this off the 50-cent levels and whole numbers. This RLX I wrote down on my losers column on my notepad this morning. That doesn't really mean too much if I don't trade it. I really didn't look at this after the open, but look at it now. It's at the low of the day. It still looks like a decent opportunity to see break lower. So you know what? Hey, didn't trade it from the morning, but this actually looks like a better trade right now. So you can see a lot of the sell prints coming in right under 11, specifically right off 1091, 1090, right off the low there. All right. Let's see what else we got here, folks. Just going to finish up this list here pretty fast. My OCGN is still popping up nicely. eBay off of earnings. Just kind of skipped over that briefly, I guess. Not a whole lot happening there. ALDX breaking down lower. This could be a good short. I thought this would hold up over time and perhaps make a new high later on off the really good news. Goes to show again, though, that I'm not swing trading the stock. I never said I was, but I know one of our newer members was asking about this trade today and saying it was dropping. Yeah, it is. But, again, I mean, hey, if this stock is shortable, then it provides a very good opportunity if this ends up going the other way. So remember, we don't control a single stock that we call out. My 2,000 shares right now in OCGN does absolutely nothing to this stock. My 2,000 shares does not dictate where this stock goes in the next hour. This stock's trading 119 million shares roughly, and it will probably within the next 30 seconds to a minute. So it's to say this, on a trade just like you saw before, if it goes the other way, like the ALDX, and if you're hoping it moves up, don't get caught with hope. It's a pretty powerful drug. And not in a good way. So, it ended up dropping off going into the close yesterday, ended up gapping down going into the open today, dropped off more. Hell, I might put this on our list. I think I'm selling myself on putting this on our watch list as a short going into the close, unless if it can hold support here right off this iceberg at, 1050 or 1250, I mean. Tina says, hope is not a plan. Certainly not. All right, folks. So let me know if there's anything else up, down, left, right, more than 5% that you would want me to check out. I got to hop into a coaching session here coming up at 3 o'clock. I'll be back on the mic myself right at 3:30, at least for all of us here live inside Cyber Group. Gene picking up 24 cents on the OCGN trade. Just getting back to that right now. I don't want to be a jerk and blow this profit myself, Gene. You got 24 cents. He got in from 11.98. He was stopped out at 12.22. Beautiful. Love to see it. All right, hopping back to YouTube Live here. Let's just take a quick look. Facebook will have its own coin, says P Trader. I'm not too familiar with that myself. I'm a big Bitcoiner, and I'll get the Bitcoin chart up in just a moment. Is MVIS dead at this point? I would like to think it would be, just based on the amount of volume it's traded the last 3 days. It dropped off this morning, led to a great short, led to a nice squeeze off the 18. My belief would be that it's more exhausted than not. So I would focus on others first. And hey, if this ends up making some like little move up or down without you, there's like 3,000 other stocks that you could trade out there. I mean, obviously more, but in terms of what we scan for what we trade for, there's still so much more out there. The worst thing that happens if you miss a stock is that, again, it moves without you, but you study that move after. You just try and gain more insight as to why that stock moved without you and just how you can grow more confident to take that type of trade the next time. Let me ask everybody a quick question here. How about this? Because this has been one of my new Josh lines here for all of us inside our coaching program, at least. A quick, dumb little question. And when I say dumb, I'm just pretty blunt with that. It is. Let's say if you watch a stock, and let's say if it ends up making a big move and you do not jump in, if you do not get in, and if it moves without you, do you happen to lose any money that's inside your trading account? Lewis is like perplexed of how silly of a question that is. I'm going to re-ask. If you do not take a trade and it moves without you, do you lose any money that's already in your account? No, right? So that's all we need to really focus on, folks. If you're uncomfortable taking a move, if you're uncertain, we're not here to gamble. So we're wrong at times. We're human beings. So the best thing to do should that happen is A, try and find another stock to trade at that time, and B, simultaneously or after the market closes, you study that move and you see how you could have taken that trade after, and certainly how you could gain more confidence, like I'd said, going into the next trade, going into the next day. All right, folks, for all of us in social media, we got to jump out right now. But for the meantime, make sure that you like, subscribe, notify right on our YouTube channel. Our YouTube channel is youtube.com/cybertradingyou. Otherwise, go right down to the link on the banner below just to sign up for our trial, just to get started inside our trading room here. For all of us live there right now, I'm going to just post the picks. And then from there, I'll jump back on the mic, like I'd said myself, coming up at 3:30 Eastern. I'll talk to you then. Take care.